Hey, Benicia, guess what?
Listen, we're
back.
back. We're back. We're back. Yes, remember that? That was
Yes,
season 1,
girl.
but we're in season 4. Tell me God has
Yes.
not been faithful.
Yes, he has, girl. He is so good. He is so good. I tell you what, we have missed y'all. We have so missed y'all.
Listen, we took
We took
a
the summer.
break, and there was
Mhm.
a lot that happened in the break.
Yes. Yes,
But we're here, and God has
we are
been
here.
so faithful. And you know what? A break is sometimes needed so you can come back refreshed and revived with new vision. And so I'm so excited, Tanya.
No, me too. Me too. And I agree with you. We even one of our sisters, Darlene, Pastor Darlene, she has a room in Clubhouse called Refresh, Renew, and Revive or something. Like Coach Jean gonna help me with the last R, but that's what it's all about. You need to do that.
You do.
You did it. You were working on self.
Yes.
I was working on self.
Come
And
on.
guess what? I think the community, the country was working on, oh my God, I can go outside. Oh my God, I can see the sun. Oh,
Yes.
unfortunately, it has us heading in a bad direction now.
Mm-hmm.
But people really needed to get that time with their kids and their loved ones because they were locked up for 18 months.
That's true. That's
So
true.
it was, yeah, it was really good to take a break. But ironically, especially for me as prior military, I feel like it's ironic that we come back today
Yeah.
on 9/11, right? And we come back with an extraordinary individual who stood in the gap for our country in a way that I never did when I was in the military. I mean, she has so many letters after her name, but then she has a nerve to have letters in front of her name too, because she was, well, she went to Iraq.
Wow.
She just let me just read some of this bio because she is a retired Army and Iraq war veteran. Not
Wow.
to mention, after her name is a RN, an MS, a HNB, a
Yeah.
BC. Look, we have royalty up in here today.
She's amazing. Good morning, Brenda. Welcome. Please share and like. This is going to be amazing. I see you put God afternoon, and that's right. That's who is in the place on this
Yes,
afternoon. So thank you for joining.
she got it right the first time.
That's right. God afternoon.
God afternoon. So yes, I want to bring Jean up because beyond all of that stuff, Benicia, one of the reasons, well, there's multiple reasons why we have her here today. She is she doesn't use the term survivor. She uses the term, what I love. She is a conqueror. She is a thriver. She is a victor. She doesn't use survivor, but she has a story. And because of that story, I'm not going to steal her thunder. Because of it, she is a holistic and wellness expert and well, this is her 5th book, but a new book that just dropped called, what is it called? There Must Be Balance.
Balance. Love it. Has to
Yes.
be balance. Yes.
Yes. Why? Because your health matters. So everybody, please share this broadcast. So many people are going to be blessed because you have 3 sisters. You're about to have 3. I'm about to bring the fabulous Coach Jean Turner on the camera, but you are going to have 3 sisters that are truly authentic, straight from the heart, and the wisdom that's going to be shared is bar none. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the gorgeous, don't look like what I've been through,
Come on.
Coach Jean Turner. Hello.
Good afternoon.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I am so glad. I am grateful to be here in the building with you, beautiful ladies. I missed y'all over the summer.
Yes, girl, we missed everybody.
Too. We did. Good morning, Abigail. Hey, Yolanda.
Thanks for sharing.
Yes. So we are so excited. Tanya and I love you as a person. You know, we know you're a nurse. I'm sure amazing. We know that you are a coach, a podcaster. Besides all these initials, honey, you have 13 jobs, but it's amazing because they all flow and they all align with your purpose, which you are going to share with us today. So thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your yes. And we're just excited and in expectation, as Abigail said, to hear your story, your triumph, and all the in between. Right, Tanya?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I wanted us to just spend a moment too, because we just briefly mentioned it before you came on about, today being 9/11 and how, I feel blessed to have you with us on today. I served, but I didn't go over there and fight back live and in color like you did. And so, I want to hear your take on 9/11 as we give props and we give a heart to all the people that have been touched by the situation.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, first and foremost, for allowing me to be on your show and to share. And so 9/11, for me, like for all of you in our listening audience, for everybody here in our nation, was a very pivotal moment that has forever changed all of our lives, right? And so, I'll never forget where I was on that day, that morning, when those planes went into crashed into the World Trade Center. So number one, I'm from New York, born and raised Jamaica, Queens, New York. What you all do not know about me, though, was that my first job after graduating high school, and I ain't ashamed to say, I'm dating myself, in 1981, my first job after graduating high school was at One World Trade Center on the 21st floor for a group of insurance brokers. I was a clerk typist at the time. And so, growing up in New York, and we took a lot of field trips over the years in school. Where? To the World Trade Center. And I ended up working there as my first job after high school. And so that morning, I had just got off work, right? I was still working night shifts at the time, was dead dog tired, patient load was crazy, got off work, just showered, got into bed, and one of my twin sons said to me, he called from school, "Ma, turn on the TV." And you know how we do, right? Boy, I just got off work. I just worked like 15 hours. What you talking about? I'm tired.
I'll catch it later.
Look. And then the next thing out his mouth, and the way he said it was what made me turn on the TV. He said, "Ma," in that manly teenage voice, "Ma, turn on the TV. A plane just crashed into the World Trade Center."
Wow.
And that got my attention. I reached over, grabbed the remote from the bedside table, and turned the TV on. And my first images was of that first building, the smoke coming from the top of the towers. And I thought, my God, what in the world? And so, that really affected me. And actually, I started in the reserves. I was in the Army Reserves, but that day right there was a pivotal moment for me, because that is what made me flip and go on active duty.
Wow, how amazing.
So you ran into the fire with Meshach Abenda. You ran in. You ran in.
Huh?
You ran into that fire.
Yeah.
You got mad and ran into the fire.
I got mad. I started out angry, and then I was like, okay, what can I do in my local community, right? And I started giving blood and doing what I could to raise funds to send to New York. Wow. And then I was like, you know what? The reserves. And plus I wanted to do something different with my nursing career, but that was the pivotal point when I left my reserve unit and put my packet in and went active duty. That's
so there. Powerful. It's so powerful how something can impact you so deeply. And I love that it impacted you to a place of action. So that's so powerful, because a lot of times things happen, but how do we respond to it? Oh, that's too bad, or whatever the case. And not that we can show up all the time the way that you did, but there's something we all can do, whether it's like you said, give blood or send a donation, but for you to make a decision that, you know what, no, my country needs me, and I want to be a answer to this issue. And so powerful. I just want to send condolences out to anyone who's watching who lost a family member, or if you knew a friend, a coworker. Last night on Netflix, I had a long day and I decided, okay, I'm just gonna really let Netflix watch me. You know how it is, right? When you're dead tired. And I just clicked, and randomly, and it was a movie about 9/11. And I was like, oh my gosh, how ironic is this? And to your point, that scene, or should I say scenes, still brought tears to my, literally, like it was happening all over again. So you're absolutely right. It changed all of our lives instantly.
It really did. It really did. But you know what, Jean, I have to say this, because usually when you watch interviews and you talk to the folks that did that, they turned around and signed up and left, went home and told their parents they were going, right? It was men. I've never encountered a woman that said, I got so mad, I said, I have to serve, I'm out of here, I'm going. So that just speaks to your character.
Yes.
Really. Even as a reservist, as a fellow former reservist, I remember sitting, waiting for them to come and get us, piled us all in the bus for Desert Storm, and then our orders got yanked at the last minute. I remember how grateful I was as a reservist, because you sign up as a reservist. I wanted to pay for college, but I never thought they were really going to take me and make me use all that stuff they taught me how to do. Right. I wasn't crying and holding on to the pole and screaming for my mommy. I went, but I was terrified. So, I mean, wow. Can you tap into any of those feelings when you were leaving to go over to Iraq, of all places?
Of course I can. Woo. I think the thing for me is that I was already good and grown at the time. Even when I went to reserves, I was already 30s, early 30s. And so when I switched over and went active duty, full active duty, it wasn't difficult for me. The only difficult challenge was my husband was still active duty, which is one of the reasons I was reserves and stayed reserves for the years that I did. And we still, at the time, the boys were teenagers. But yeah, I just knew that I had to do more. And then I was truly ticked off too. I was like, how dare them? And that's my hometown. And I used to work there, and I used to have lunch downstairs on the concourse and all of these things. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Really? But going to Iraq, yeah, I was scared. But I don't know. I think the fear came from the uncertainty, because you go into war. And like you said, Tanya, like, I really got to use this stuff now that they taught me. And the nursing part, the patient care, was easy. It was the full battle rattle, like that really hoo-ha stuff, and my weapon and my M16 and M9s and all of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And I was like, and throwing on that mop gear, that was like, oh shoot, I really got to do this.
Yes.
Abigail says, what an awesome sacrifice. And I don't think we could, say it any better, because like you said, you were married, you have children, and you still chose to go. What an amazing sacrifice. So thank you again. Thank you so much for just being willing to be, again, an answer to a problem, And so with that being said, I think we should get into a whole nother part of your story. I mean, there's so many intricate parts, right, Tanya? As you said,
Yes,
she wears
yes.
so many different hats. And so I want to talk about a little bit about, you know, you being a registered nurse, of course, a board certified holistic nurse. And so can you talk to us and the audience about why holistic is important to you?
Wow. First of all, let me say honored to serve. So thank you so much for acknowledging that. And to all of our comrades who are listening and veterans themselves, thank them for their service as well.
Yeah.
Look, holistic, I got into holistic nursing and became a board certified holistic nurse because of all the years I've been a nurse, right? And it's gone on 35 years now. When I went through my suddenly health crisis in 2018 to 2019. Now, over all these years, I gave the best nursing care that I knew to give to all my patients. But I'm going to be transparent right now and say I had not a clue as to what was going through their minds, what they were experiencing, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, professionally, none of that until I had my suddenly health crisis in 2018. And it was during that time that I began to really dig deep, and my whole perspective changed about health and well-being and about the whole healthcare system that I had been. I mean, I was still in the military at the time, but my perspective changed about the whole healthcare system, Western medicine, all of that. And so, you know, in times past where I was just so focused on my physical man, right? Because Time, you can test this. You can't be in the army and not be a gym rat. You can't be in the army and not run. You may not like to run,
Right.
but I was a runner. Like I ran marathons, half marathons, and whatever the distance was, I did it for grins and giggles because I loved it, right?
Yes.
And so even though I was taking care of my physical man, but that was my sole focus. I was never sick, other than occasional sinusitis or a cold, except for after that anthrax shot that kind of threw me under. But other than that, never been sick to where I couldn't work, right? And so that's why holistic, because that them chemo treatments and all the medicines, I went from being on zero meds, zero health issues, and at the time was 54 years young, to suddenly this diagnosis, this tumor, surgery, chemo, a bag. When I tell you a Ziploc bag full of meds, including all the meds they was pumping in me during my treatments and all of that, I was like, whoa, wait, whoa. Right. So it was a shock. Yeah. And it was a shock to my body, my mind, my spirit, everything. So that's why holistic, because let me tell you, that journey right there just changed everything about how I thought about and viewed my own health and well-being in the past.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge, because it's one thing, and they say that the doctors and nurses are the worst patients, right? But for you to be on the other side of that, had to, shake you to the core. Yeah. Because I think too, as a nurse, even as a caretaker, then all of a sudden you're the patient, and it's one thing to take care of somebody, but it's another thing when you're experiencing that pain. Yeah. When you're hurting and you can't find the words to explain how, and you were the person on the other side they were trying to explain it to before. I mean, it's gotta be like, I can't even find my words to describe it, because I remember laying in a hospital bed being the sick person. And it's, I think if I want to get psychic almost a little bit, I would say it's not really even psychic, because God is so intentional.
Yes.
And those foxhole moments, I believe with the power in me that those foxhole moments are what brought you through. Because I remember some nights, Gene, when I was calling on everybody, every angel he had on his left and right side to help me sleep. Just take some of this away and help me sleep, right? Those foxhole moments when you're alone and you're scared and you don't know what's coming at you. prepared you a little bit for that journey. What do you think?
Good.
Yeah, hey, Benisha, isn't that good? Because look, I thought going to Iraq, spending 13 months in Iraq, I was bad, but right, like you couldn't tell me nothing, right? Here I am, this round the way chick, and I got my weapon, and I'm not. You couldn't. When I got back from there, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me I was big, bad, and resilient, right?
Okay.
No. And let me tell you, as a result, let me tell you what dropped in my spirit when I was going through those chemo treatments. You don't know how resilient you are till resilience is a requirement.
Come on.
That journey right there
Wow.
really, really tested every ounce of resilience I thought.
Yes.
I thought I had.
That's so good. That's so good. When you were saying, talking about your rifle and thinking you were big and bad, all I could think about was like G.I. Jane or something, like you like, yes, I am the epitome of this soldier. But where I want to stay at is like what Tanya was saying. I have never physically been in a foxhole, but mentally I have. And so I wanted to talk about your mental state, your mental capacity. What you said was so powerful. You don't know resilience, how resilient you are until it's required. And life can change in a blink of an eye. So let's talk about the mind, because the strength of the mind is huge in helping you navigate hard seasons, whether you're in a natural foxhole or when you're in a mental one. So talk about the mind, Jean.
Oh my goodness, Benisha, let me tell you something. And that's the part. People focus so much on the physical aspects and not just of a diagnosis of malignancy. Just take any type of health, situation, right? Any illness or sickness. Mm-hmm. The focus is so much on the physical, right? Getting the physical man well and back into 100%. But the mind, my God, the mind, let me tell you, I had so many days to where my mind, I was on an emotional and mental roller coaster ride, right? Some days, I was like, okay, I got this. Mm-hmm. But them days after treatment, especially 2 or 3 days after treatment, and especially after the first few months when I could do nothing in between the treatments no longer, because the treatments had started taking that big a toll on my body, my mind, I was depressed. I felt isolated. I would lay up in the bed, didn't even sleep in the master bedroom. I lived in one of the, we call guest bedrooms now, one of our son's former bedrooms, right? Yeah. That ride right there, that mental, oh my God, you talk about trying to find ways and outlets to try to release some of that stuff. Because I think I was like, okay, I can't, well, being a nurse, too much. Being in healthcare, period, too much. So I was like, I cannot keep this bottled inside of me, because I knew it was going to affect my physical health in other ways. And so, yes, I started journaling, which I had never done before, right? But I remember telling my patients to do this over the years, right? So I started journaling and writing and on the days when I felt good, I still tried to go run or exercise or watch a movie, just do something, because that mind, oh my God. And there is a mind-heart connection. As a man think in his heart, so is he. And I had to continue to try to find encouragement through the word of God, through God sending other people to me, to call me or text me or whatever. It was just like, oh my God, but that mind, let me tell you. And then the enemy throws fuel to the fire.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And he doesn't miss an opportunity.
Yeah. He don't take a day off. We took a summer off, but he don't. He don't take
no. And so with a diagnosis like that, and you going through chemo, I had to separate myself from people. A lot of the isolation was self-isolate. It was self-induced, because you can't just have everybody. I had to cut people off that I've known for years. Everything.
Come on.
Yes, yes,
for your
yes.
own sanity, for your own mental capacity and peace, for your own solitude, a place where you could hear God, where He could
Come on.
actually minister to you.
Come
That
on.
one-on-one time is
Yes.
essential.
Come on.
I have this
Yes.
one. I have to ask this. I just do. So when you flipped roles, right? So now you're the patient. Let's talk about being empathetic and sympathetic, because sometimes, as you said earlier, right? People feel like, and we've all done it. Let me go first. Said something or was trying to comfort somebody and really didn't have the right words to say. But can you talk about how it changed you, and if it changed you, being empathetic and sympathetic now that you've had to walk those same shoes?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a outstanding question and comments, because look, I'll admit I was not the most patient person in the world. And sympathy and patience is two different things in my book. Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Yes,
empathetic,
very much.
very empathetic over the years with others and with my patients, because I love my patients. But could I sympathize? No, because I had no clue. I was healthy as a horse for all my life. I had no clue. And I did not have tolerance. And I'm going to admit this because Coach Jean is transparent. I'm straight, no chaser.
Yeah.
I could not take it when people came to me and said things like, oh, even though I knew it, but I didn't want to hear it. Well, God's in control and this and that and all. Look, I knew it in my heart, but at the time, I was like, okay,
Really?
but really? Because I'm facing something, I call it uncomfortable, uncommon, unfamiliar territory. Okay. And look, it was the wilderness. I tell anybody, it was a wilderness experience.
Yes.
And when you out in the wilderness, right? You looking for your manna. You looking for you looking for encouragement, yes. But at the same time, God is the healer, but you still, the human side of you, still like, God, I know you are the healer. I have faith, but I'm still in this uncommon, uncomfortable, unfamiliar territory. Yes. Are you going to do it for me too? Let's be real, because our humanity clashes. Sometimes humanity clashes with divinity, right? Let's be real. We are human beings.
That's right.
We have faith. Don't get me wrong, but we are human. These
human bodies. And guess what? It's okay. It's okay not to be okay sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's okay not to be okay. Do we stay there? Absolutely not. It's a season. As you can see, Jean is healthy, beautiful, running, not only maybe in the natural, but running in the spiritual sense, running after everything that God has given her. So no, you won't stay there, but we do have to learn how to meet people in those places. And it doesn't mean not to pray. It doesn't mean, that we can't give a word, but we do have to be led by the Holy Spirit to know when to go and be quiet, to just, I went through a health crisis, and it was so great to have my friends show up. And guess what they did, Jean? They got in the bed with me.
All right.
In the bed, watched TV, and ate. And guess what? That was such therapy for me. It was something that I needed. And guess what? They Holy Ghost talkers, walkers, demon busters. But in that moment, they were able to meet me in my humanity. Now, before they left, they don't put down the prayer. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not, you can't have, what is your book all about? I love it. Balance.
Balance.
Yes.
So powerful. Tanya?
Yeah, to me, yes, got in the bed, Placider, got in the bed. Yes, girl.
Because
And
I couldn't move. I don't want, today you gotta straighten that out. So they was on top of the covers and we was watching the movies. Okay, yes, because
yeah, you see, sometimes so transparent, G. Sometimes so transparent, right?
That's all right. It's all good though. It's all
it's
good.
the level of friendship and sisterhood.
Right,
Like,
right.
yes, got in the bed so we could watch a movie, close what you need,
Right.
I got you, whatever the case may
Right.
be. And the world needs more friends and more people that will show up like that. Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I agree. And I think too, spending that kind of time and not having, you're just proving that what kind of friend you are when you do show up for somebody that's walking through. They don't want to know how well you know the Old Testament and what line goes before this one and what comes after that one. They just want to be raw in the moment that they're in.
Come on.
And know that you have them. Right. But let me spin it just a little bit, because I don't know about you, Jean, but when I wasn't feeling my best, I had a few moments where, you know what, I just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. You don't understand how I'm feeling, and maybe I didn't vocalize that, but I was in those moments of, you know what, I just need some room.
Yeah.
And just let me be for a minute. And that can hurt, speaking as the patient, but also speaking as the caretaker or friend, because you feel like you're being pushed away. And I know you have, because you've spoken about this, you can describe this situation, be it with your family and what they were going through at the time that you were going through. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I can. And walking through that was the other thing. It really hit home how much a health challenge or a diagnosis for one family member can affect the whole household, the whole family, the caregiver, particularly, because my husband, God bless him, I thank God for Command Sergeant Major retired James L. Turner, because God forbid if I was still with the ex, it might have been a different story. Real talk. Okay. I thank God for my husband, because he was right there every step of the way, taking me to treatments, dropping me off, leaving to go to work, coming back to pick me up, fixing my foods, making sure I was all of that. And the toll, it finally dawned on me, because at first, I'll admit, I was like, he's still going to work. He don't have a clue, and da 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 da. But what I realized, he still needed some normalcy. As I was still trying to search for normalcy through that, by still exercising and running, going for a run when I could and things like that, and going out when I felt decent enough, he was still seeking some normalcy as well. And work was normalcy for him. That was his only outlet from being, my caregiver. And so I understood that, or understand that better now. And after, I finished chemo, and after suddenly when I went into cardiac arrest as a result of the chemo, and he had to care for me again. So and sometimes, because we're angry at what's going on with us, we tend to take it out on the ones closest to us, which is not fair to them at all. But it's real talk, because it's oh my God. So it's like,
Look how mad the enemy is. She was dropping some pearls and he was like, nope.
Yeah, we know he doesn't like anything real, because he always comes, right? With the fake, with the lies, but we can
knock it out the box.
Yeah, not today, Satan. Not no day, but not today. So we know that she will be returning soon. But I am so enjoying just the transparency and
Yes.
the authenticity of her story. You know, first leaving the family to go and represent her country and take care of, you know, individuals during 9/11, and then we move from you know, being like a hero to now you're on the other side of your career industry of being a registered nurse to now being a patient dealing with cancer and chemo. But still yet being a warrior. And I can't wait until she connects and comes back so we can talk about this this warrior spirit that
the spirit of a warrior.
Right. And we can take some time to give some shout outs. I see a lot of
people. That's what I was thinking.
Your sister, my sister too, because I've adopted her. Plastic in the house. We have Angel and Judy and Gina. Come on. We are so excited to have you in the room.
And Sandy is here too, our fellow podcaster extraordinaire. I'm so glad to see Mama's in the room. Miss Markelda is up in here.
Abigail's in the room. I'm excited.
We're so glad to see you guys. And we're so thankful that you're sharing the podcast. Thank you so much for that. We truly missed you. And we're planning on having such an extraordinary season with you in the house this year. So just be prepared. And, you know, if you're sitting out there and you have a triumph story or you're related to a triumph story, please let us know. You know, reach out to us and let us know, because we're looking to change and make an impact in the kingdom this season like any other. You know, like any other.
Listen, this lineup that we have, I'm telling you, when we say raw and vulnerable, some topics that we've never discussed before, but the body of Christ needs to hear it. We need to hear it. We need to talk about freedom. And in order to be free, that means that you had to be bound by something. So we want to hear the beginning, the middle, and the end. You know, Tanya, I love that we're called Arise and Shine Stories of Triumph. And here we go. Here's the triumph.
The triumph right
here
there.
We go, right here.
Oh, Karen, thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you back. We were talking about being a warrior. And you know, and how when things like this happen, again, this is, I think nothing happens by chance. This is exactly how life shows up. Unexpected. It interrupts, you know. But let's talk about what do you feel like a warrior really represents? Because honestly, you show up like that. You know, and there are certain character traits that a warrior has to have. So what can you share with us personally and the audience about having a warrior posture and mindset?
I love that.
I do too. Warrior posture. She sounds like a soldier for real, for real. Right? You go, girl. So you know, to me, a warrior and having a warrior posture, a spirit of a warrior, it's just having a fighting spirit. You know, it's digging deep from within. First of all, it's really leaning on the strength of God, our Savior.
That's it.
Because it's in Him is where we draw strength from. It's in Him we live, move, and have our being. Amen. So the strength of Christ in us, we've got to pull that up out of us, right? And lean on His strength. But also because of who we are, right? And whose we are, that spirit that says, I will not be defeated. I will not die in this place. I will not die, never surrender. A lot of this is the true epitome and what we are taught in the natural army about being a soldier and soldiering, but it's not giving up, not quitting.
That's right.
So
That's
powerful.
right.
And so when I was walking through that, I've never been a quitter. I mean, I'm from New York City, born and bred. Okay. We don't quit. We are fighters. We will fight you to the death. Right. And physically too, if you mess with me too much, but fight to the death. Right. And so real talk. So, you know, growing up in that environment and always having to fight, and then, you know, being a soldier, ended up being in the army. Look.
Yeah.
It's just never been in me to quit. It's always been in me to fight. And that is a warrior saying, I'm not going to die in this place here. I'm not going to give up until God take my last breath.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Pushing past the fear, I think, is another piece of it.
Come on.
It just takes you to the next level, you know, because warriors are scared.
Yeah.
But the difference is they push past that. They push past the fear to deliver. You know, I want to go to fight for the country, but I'm scared of guns. Okay, all right. So maybe that's not a good move for you. So maybe maybe you shouldn't go. But we decided, well, you know, I do this 2 weeks out of the year and 1 week in a month, but they just tried to take us out. Wait a minute, hold up. Or better yet, when your numbers aren't what you thought they should be after one of your rounds of chemo, and you were disappointed, and you had a choice of going for the next round or saying, you know what, this is too much. I'm scared. I'm gonna give up. You decided to keep going.
So good.
And you know what, Jean, I want to talk about that a little bit, because you had a battle after the battle, and you fought that battle too. And I think to jump in and talk about how much that second battle has driven your purpose today. That second battle probably has more of an impact on your purpose today than the first battle, right?
Girl, you better say that. Yeah. You better say that, because after chemo, I was like, okay, I've taken my last treatment. Look, I could just go back to doing life as normal, life as usual before the chemo. Or so I thought, right? Because I was just going to go back to work, stay in the army. I was like, I'm going to do another 3 or 4 years, make full bird colonel, because I was a light colonel. I was like, let me make full bird, you know, hey. No. That next incident, 9 weeks after my last chemo treatment, the effects of the chemo caught up with me, and I went into cardiac arrest because it affected my heart and threw me to congestive heart failure. Let me just say, when I woke up, I thought I had just been sleeping.
Wow.
That's what I thought.
Wow.
I went into the emergency room the night of August 7, 2019. They didn't see me and call me to the back until the following morning, about 6, 7 the next morning. And I remember my husband, I was in a wheelchair. He wheeled me to the door where the nurse was calling my name from. And I don't remember anything else until I woke up and looked around, and I was in a room with all these machines and monitors and an ECMO machine, this big monstrous machine at the end of my bed, and a nurse saying, "Oh, Miss Turner, are you awake?" or whatever she said. I don't quite remember. And she asked me, you know, the questions they ask you. You know who you are. You know what day it is. You know where you are. I think I only passed one of the questions, answered one correctly, because I thought it was still August 8th. Come to find out, it's like August 19th.
Wow.
And you cannot die. I find that I mean, no one wanted, everyone was tiptoeing around it for those first few days after I woke up. And then I found out I coded not once but twice.
My God.
My heart had stopped because I started asking questions. Yes. And then it didn't help that one of my girlfriends drove all the way from Augusta to Atlanta, and she told them all about me, that I was a registered nurse, a lieutenant colonel in the Army, been downrange and all this stuff, because she said it was important to her that they knew who they was dealing with, and they just wasn't caring for somebody that just didn't take care of themselves and let themselves go. And you know how some people think, especially now with health inequities and all of that, you know.
That's right.
She's like, no, they needed to know who you were. And so I started asking questions and everything and found out. But that changed me, because you can, well, let me just say for Coach Jean, the fact when I found that I died, but that God, who is the giver and restorer of life, brought me back. It was nobody's alarm clock. It was nobody's monitors with all the noise the monitors was making. None of that woke me up.
Yeah.
It was God. And the fact that he gave me another chance.
Yes.
Jesus.
I owe him. I said, God, I owe you my life. And from then on, I could care less about the Army. I went on and retired. I can care less about anything that I used to care about prior to that outside of my family. No, it changed everything. But look, I had to, everything that I used to teach my patients over 30 something years, I had to put into practice more than just my physical man and running and exercising, because I thought for years I can outrun a bad diet. Not so. So I had to literally put all that in practice. And I asked God, I prayed, Lord, I don't ever want to be sick like that again. Never want to be vulnerable like that again. I went on a 21-day fast, the beginning of January 2020, and said, God, I need you to give me direction and download the instructions for me and how to best take care of my temple going forward, so that I can remain healed and healthy and whole, and just preserve the healing you have blessed me with.
So good. I love the fact that you brought it right back. You know, I believe all roads lead back to God. They just do. Every single road leads back to him. But even with your education, as educated as you were, you recognize, it's great that I have this degree. It's great that I have this information. However, I know someone who has the strategy and the plan for me. You know, I recognize my mom had breast cancer. And when we were going through that, they didn't really talk to her about nutrition, eating right, what feeds the cancer, what doesn't. So you are absolutely right when you're talking about this holistic system. It is so essential not to, I'm not saying we don't respect doctors, of course, respect nurses, of course. However, you had to come to the place that I need to know what's going to work for me, and put your spiritual and your practical tools together collectively in harmony, as you would say, as in balance. And so what I want to talk about for a second, because we're right in this space, you mentioned the word vulnerability. You said, Lord, I don't want to be in that vulnerable place. But again, the show before the show, Tanya and I got a chance to hear your heart about how God has really humbled you in the sense of being able to be vulnerable, to be transparent. Can you talk about that journey a little bit? Who you were prior and who you became after?
So again, very transparent moment. And I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but I've said it before, even on my shows. I wasn't as, look, the bottom line up front is I could not sympathize because I hadn't been through it, but I always used to think to myself, and I would never say this to my patients or even family when they came down with something or some health, some illness or disease, but I always used to think, what did you do? What did you do to yourself to cause this? Or what are you not doing? What are you eating? And my diet was not good because again, I thought I got out.
Yes,
I was coming from a very judgy place because I was so healthy, never been sick a day in my life, right? Except for what I told y'all about.
Right.
So it's coming from a very judgy place until it happened to me. And even though I knew from professional knowledge that there are other things that play a role in illness and disease, right? Age, genetics is huge. Our environment, which I never considered environment until it happened to me, is when I started thinking my environment, right? But environment plays a role. Stress plays a role. Tanya, I don't have to tell you, being in the Army, even though you were in the reserves, it's still stressful.
Yes.
Very.
Okay.
Very.
Just being in the healthcare profession, which is a highly litigious profession, is stressful. I never considered the other factors that play a role in illness and disease until it happened to me. And even today, I still say my environment, being downrange in Iraq with burn pits and that chemical smell. We used to have this smell in front of the DFAC. We walk in the DFAC and be like, what's that smell? God only knows. I lived in Korea for a year. Korea, Seoul is one of the most polluted countries in the world, cities in the world, I mean. So who knows? But so coming from a judgy place like that, going through my suddenly health crisis, when I started looking outside of just my physical health and physical man, I even studied environmental health. And so all of these things, changed my perspective and were key so that now I'm not judgy, right? Yes. I'm thinking, I'm looking at the person's environment, where they live more. I'm looking at all these other factors, including, but not limited to, social disparities. And because that's a word we're hearing a lot now since the pandemic, right? The health inequities and health equalities and all this other stuff, and the social determinants, the different determinants that affect one's overall health and well-being. So I hate to say it, but I was very judgy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's big of you. I love the fact that you said, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but just once again, pushing past the fear, Jean, just thought I'd mention, because, I'm the same.
All of us.
I think we all have a piece of that, really. Yeah. But what I love about it is, you've gone through these morphs of change in your life, and then you go through this last one where you're like, whoa, wait a minute. First of all, you were in shock because you were so healthy, right? And then you go through this journey with the chemo, and you come out, I'm doing what they told me to do, right? I'm gonna get the medication they told me to get, and then your body's like, I didn't like all that stuff you was doing to me for the past how long? What?
9 months. 9 months. It was 9 months.
Long 9 months, I'm sure.
Long.
You make your whole way turned around. You turned into a person that's writing books about your experience and that fight, that warrior woman that had to push through. Yeah. But now you're culminating. I love book 5 because book 5 is talking about you're actually offering remedy in book 5, right? Because you're talking about the fact that, I know you have all this stuff going on in your life, but you need to have balance if you want everything to work. Health, family, all of it. Yes. Talk to us about there must be balance.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, that was just a compilation. I never could say that name. That word right, Tanya. We struggle with that word all the night. Accumulation of everything that I have either learned, taught, spoken of since 2018, since my suddenly healthcare crisis. And so a little bit about there must be balance, your health matters. First and foremost, the realization of what health means to the individual, because health means different things to different people. I know what health used to mean to me. Yeah. And what it means to me now is totally different. But realizing what does health mean to the individual reader, because it means different things, different people, and it's based on our experiences, it's based on how we raised, it's based on generations. It's so many factors that contribute to what it means to us, right? And so the bottom line is that there must be balance. Really takes a holistic perspective. And when I say holistic, I'm talking about whole person, whole body approach. What makes us human beings? Now, does that include complementary alternative modalities or therapies like your acupuncture, massage, and all of that? Yes, it can include that. But that in and of itself is not holistic, because you can get massages every week. You can practice aromatherapy every day, but still your diet's jacked up, your mind and your heart's jacked up. You're living in an environment that's not conducive to your well-being, probably in a relationship. Your relationships are toxic, all of that, right? So that in and of itself does not mean holistic. And so, look, it covers all of that, right? And then it looks into where I give individual examples, right? Because I like to use the example of the professional football player, right? Now, you have a professional football player that says, despite my injury, I can still play ball. So to him, guess what? That's what health means to him. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It means different things to different people. And then we take a perspective. We look at the heart matters. We look at mindset matters, because my God, I don't care how. Have you ever seen that meme or mime on Facebook that says you can eat all the kale, drink all the alkaline water, but if your mind and your heart is jacked up, you are still unhealthy? My God, if that ain't one of the truest statements I have ever seen in my life.
Mindset.
Mindset. This is where it starts. Did we not have this conversation a little while ago about the mind going through a health crisis? This matters.
Yes,
and so
the biggest muscle you have.
Look. And so, we talk about work-life balance and bring it all home with lifestyle balance, because how many of y'all, or this could be you, but how many people do you know, they so busy grinding, they look around, next thing is 12 o'clock, it's midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, they ain't ate, or maybe hardly ate, or haven't eaten at all. They haven't gotten up from the computer to go pee, and I said pee, so people understand it, because I don't talk professional 24/7, okay? Ain't even stretched, ain't did nothing, ain't even kissed the dog, rubbed the cat, nothing.
And if you did say something to somebody, you wasn't nice, because you were so focused on what you had to do that you snapping at people, and it's probably because you didn't drink no water and you didn't pee. So you're not a nice person, and you didn't eat no food, so you're hangry. All right. So
it's so true. It's from experience. You know what I love about this conversation is that, God is teaching me in the quiet time. I was just down for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, pretty much. And what he taught me is what you're saying. Okay, so now that you're in this state, how can you begin to be proactive? And so what I love about this conversation is you drop so many nuggets for people to be proactive and not reactive, because like you said, when you just in the moment, you're not really thinking about that. But I think even in the midst of this pandemic, if we get still enough, quiet enough, if we allow God to really speak to us, he will do exactly what he's downloaded to you to put in this book. Where are your priorities? We can say we value something, but really is our actions aligning with what we say we value? Do you agree with that?
Girl, you on it. Venetia, you on it. You on it like hot butter on popcorn. Okay. Because look, we get so caught up in our careers. And I know from experience, I got so caught up in my military career and every mission and making the next rank and calling branch, what's my next assignment and all of this. And look, I was not prioritizing. And I tell anybody, anybody this day, it is very seldom that I will get on any type of conference call or anything before 11 a.m. or noon. And you know why? Because before that, I'm getting up, I'm checking my vital signs because I'm still on 3.5 pills that I have to take every day, down from a bag full down to 3.5 pills. And I know I got to check my heart rate, check my blood pressure, do what I need to do. I need to get my elderberry tea, take my zinc, my vitamin C, my vitamin D. And oh, by the way, I need to get a little food in my stomach because I took this medicine, right? And I am in prayer. I am at the throne room. I'm in the throne room at my Father's feet, seeking him for what he want me to do that day, seeking him for direction, spending time in prayer and my word, because that is my priority, right? Because we can't do nothing throughout our day without consulting with the Father.
My gosh.
So I'm just saying, and I didn't used to do that. I will admit, I was so busy chasing my career and doing what I do that I didn't go before the Father. He wake me up in the morning. I go do PT, physical training, go for my run, get ready for my day, go in the office, do whatever. Gave him no time whatsoever.
But you know what's so good about him that excites me is that even when you was in that state, he still his love didn't change, his grace didn't change, his mercy did not change. He said he loved us while we was yet sinners, and guess what? He knew what was about to happen. We always laugh in my little circle because I say, yep, God is so much smarter than we are. If we would just really grasp that concept, then we would be farther along, because everything that you went through was preparing you for what he knew was ahead. But the other thing that I love is that you came back so humble and said, because you love me, even when I wasn't focused on you, because you're giving me another chance, now my priority is going to be you, and everything else has to fall suit, has to fall under. Even being in the army, knowing your rank, we have to know God in our life, he has to be ranked number one.
And you hit it there. You hit it there, because whether it's the army or corporate or whatever, society teaches us climb. So if you're not climbing, everybody's looking at you like, well, you right there. Why don't you just go for it? Go ahead, put your name in. Go ahead and do it. Buy that, do that. And you just lose. For me, I made my company my God.
Yes.
My marketing firm was my God. So, I lost sight of everything. So what came out of that? 2 brain aneurysms for uncontrolled blood pressure, because that's what caused my arteries to want to explode. That was not balanced. I wasn't taking medicine. I was letting my pressure go all different directions. So, when you put the wrong thing on the pedestal, you're going to pay.
Yeah, and God gonna get your look. I believe God gonna get your attention. One way or the other, he gonna get your attention. Because he got to put you back on track, right? But what also I learned as a result of that, what I thought was punishment, because I kept saying in the midst of that, God, what did I do to deserve this? Or what did I not do that I was supposed to be doing?
Right now,
I found out that it wasn't punishment, but it was process propelling me into my destiny.
Come on, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
It's not punishment. It is God propelling you to your God-given destiny.
My God. That just ministered to my whole soul. Yes, because it's perspective, right? It's that mindset. You can come out a victim or you can come out victorious. And you, Gene Turner, have come out victorious and continue, because it's a constant journey. It's a constant journey. It's an everyday choice that you have to make him priority. You have to go see.
Yes.
You have to take your vitamins. We have a responsibility to partner with God. He sent his son. His son finished his assignment other than coming back. And so I appreciate that in you. I appreciate the doer in you. The word says be a hearer, be a doer, not just a hearer of the word. And so to see that you're not only putting it into action for your own personal life, but you're coaching, you're educating, podcasting, your show, like so many different avenues that you are sharing these experiences that have shaped and molded you into the beautiful woman of God that you are. So we are just so, very privileged to have you cross our path, and now we're sisters, and now we can glean from each other. I remember Tanya called me several times going through some different things, and she said, I called Jean and she was able to help me navigate. And so I just appreciate that we don't go through things just for ourselves. We go through things so that we can help others triumph and overcome.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Sis, I want you, because I know for me, I mean, transparent, you guys, I will share with you the brilliant warrior that is my mom is walking through chemotherapy right now. She was diagnosed with, for those of you that know, triple negative, stage 1. Praise God, and that it is stage 1.
Yeah.
And Jean took time out of her day to have a call with us and our family to walk my mom through the questions she may have. Meant the world to me. She didn't have to do that. She's an extraordinary coach. So I want to make sure, and I'll put the information in the comments, that you reach out to her. There are people that are suffering now in silence. They're going to get bad reports because I believe a pastor said last weekend on a service that I watched that we're all walking around in a state of trauma and recovery, but we've accepted it as our new normal. So because we're not sharing and because we're isolating, it is metamorphosizing in our bodies as disease. And so we're suffering in silence, and you don't have to. So I would love for you, Jean, to just talk to someone who's sitting out there now that's either come through and doesn't want to talk about it or is experiencing something. We're just going to give you the mic for a minute so you can have a final word about your philosophy and what's going on and how you can help.
So thank you so much, Anisha and Tanya. I greatly appreciate it. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here on your stage, on your platform. And so, there lately, and I'm glad to see it happening, because for so long to talk about how we feel, to, seek what we call in the Army behavioral health. We don't call it mental health because that word mental still carries a stigma with it, right? So behavioral health, I'm so glad that there is more information and more awareness, because it is important that we do not keep stuff bottled up inside. We all need someone to talk to. Yes, we have God, our Heavenly Father, that we can talk to, but He has placed others here and given them the knowledge and the wisdom to help us along our journeys when we find ourselves in the wilderness. We find ourselves in these uncomfortable, uncommon, and unfamiliar territories. And so I encourage everyone who is listening to this show today, seek out resources. There is no shame in going to talk to somebody, right? Seek out the licensed professionals that can help you. If it's not to that point, you just need somebody just to, vent to. Then look, yes, if you got a good girlfriend, a best friend, your spouse, your pastor, your clergy, that you trust them just for venting purposes, or even to bounce off some feelings to. Okay, fine, but go seek help. Go seek someone you can talk to, because the bottom line is this: all of these things, it's stressful. It creates stress. And stress, when it becomes long term, over a period of time, we say chronic in the healthcare profession, when it becomes long term like that, it does manifest in your physical body. Research has shown that over 80%, 80 to 85% of visits to someone's primary care provider is a result of stress-induced signs and symptoms. Almost 85%, 80 to 85% of doctors' visits are related to some stress-induced sign or symptom. So look, it is no shame in going to talk to somebody, because what you don't want to do is allow whatever it is you're feeling and holding and bottling up inside. Even now during this pandemic, there's been so much loss and grief. People have died as a result of this pandemic, COVID-19, and there's a lot of grief going on in the land and the world. Even that, if you need to see somebody and talk to somebody about it, there's no shame in it. Seek the healthcare professional that you need for your situation, that can relate and help you with your particular situation, and get it out. Talk about it. There are support groups for everything right now, but make sure they are a professional. Make sure that it's someone that you can establish a relationship with, have a rapport with, and who's going to individualize your particular healthcare need. And so that's what I would say to that. Thank you so much, Tanya and Benicia, for allowing me to share that.
Oh, of
Awesome.
course.
Words
Of
of
course.
wisdom. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
We thank you so very much for spending this time with us. I know people have been blessed.
Absolutely.
And I hope that you guys will share this broadcast, because it was so much good in it that needs to be shared. So, and if you're watching on the replay, we ask you to do the same. Share it with your community and get the book. Benicia, did you want to add anything?
I just want to say that we say this every season, but I mean it so sincerely, that we don't do this for likes and numbers. We do this because this is something that God has called us to do. And our heart posture is not only to educate our audience, but guess what? We take something away every time we have a guest. And so I just want to say how much we appreciate you, how you've given me even some things to go back and just think about concerning my own health, because health is wealth. It just really is. Health is wealth. So thank you. Thank everyone for joining in. I see Flo joined and Martha joined. And so thank you so much for just consistently rocking with us. We appreciate it. And we're going to be, as Jean would say, we're going to have real talk. We are real people, and these are real stories that we're going to continue to bring to you every week. Thank you.
Yes, it's going to be awesome next week. And you know what, guys? As usual, we're going to stay consistent with the transparency. Yes. The folks that we bring you are prepared to share. And we're going to turn over, some rocks this season and look at what's underneath. So I urge you, get ready.
Yes.
Get ready, because we have, what you call them? I love what you said earlier, Benicia. So we're going to have two truth tellers and demon busters on this season.
That's it.
I love it. I love it.
Truth tellers and demon busters. So we have, just to give you a sneak peek, we have a sisterhood episode that's coming on. We're going to deal with things. Are you really a sister? For real? The epitome of what a sister is to another woman.
Yes.
Are you a sister? Right? We're going to be dealing with grief. We're going to have some power couples on this season that are going to be amazing. And that just some awesome stuff coming down the line. So we ask you to join us. I'm going to now actually share with you, in case you missed how to get in touch with Lady Jean, Nurse Coach Jean, Colonel Jean, Author Jean.
I am just Jean.
Just Jean. That's one too. We're going to get a shirt that
I
says
like
Just
that.
Jean.
Yes, we need a
Yes,
shirt.
Just
Just
Jean.
Jean. I like it.
Yes, we're going to go out just sharing that information with you, and also how to stay in touch and find the broadcast and everything else with Benicia and I. God bless you, God. Keep you this week.
Yes.
We love you so.
Yes,
Take
we do.
care.
Bye.
Thank y'all.
Are you ready to take charge and become a good steward over your health? For health coaching and nonfiction books that will inspire and encourage you to become the healthiest version of you that you can be, connect with the coach, Nurse Coach Jean Turner, at www.spiritofawarrior.life.